here's what we're going to do. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about and put in context some of these things, sir, and then we're going to publish these individually to the jury, and they'll be able to flip through them, okay? So I just want to ask you a few questions about what was going on here, all right? Fair?
Okay.
This one we can see is dated November 10th, 2011. Best recollection, is that the first time you guys did sort of the G-chat thing?
Yes.
Now take a look down here. It's a little light, but where it says me, which you've previously told us you begin this conversation with woof. What's going on through this conversation?
So basically, dogs introduce themselves by barking or whatever dogs do to introduce themselves, and that's kind of how I felt like introducing this conversation.
And did he play along with you through this?
Yes.
Now, is this consistent with the sort of banter that you would have either in person or through the G-chats that we're going to see?
Yes.
Okay. Ma'am, 12-2. Just if you blow up that top part, ma'am. There's a couple things that I want to ask you about here. One, there's a reference to Hillary by the defendant here. Is that the Hillary Allen I asked you about earlier?
Yes.
Do you remember what this is in reference to?
I do not.
Okay. There's another portion in here that's a reference to donuts. Do you remember what's going on there?
Yes. So this was a joke about Tim having a crush on Kirsten and how he brought in a donut and how we were joking about how he would share it with Kirsten.
Was this other conversation that you'd had even outside of G-chat about Kirsten and donuts?
Was there another one? Is that what
No,
you
no.
asked?
Did you have other conversations related to this sort of thing prior to this?
No.
There's also a reference in here to how classes are going, and you guys talk to each other about the professors. Did you do that routinely or even outside of the G-chats?
Say it wasn't uncommon.
What were the defendant's general statements to you about his classes? And maybe they were varied, but do you remember?
Say overall his classes went well and that he is passing them.
Did he like them?
I don't know if anybody liked them.
Okay, that's fair. Did he ever talk to you about his feelings about the professors with whom he had rotations? And I'll give you three names. If you don't remember them, you just say that. Occam Klug, Mark Delacqua, and Kurt Fried.
So I don't remember any of those names.
Great. Do you remember him talking about any particular rotation that he thought well of or poorly of?
So it was either his first rotation or his second.
At this point, because he's already indicated that he doesn't know if it was Mr. Holmes that ever told him anything about the rotations.
The objection's overruled.
Go ahead, sir.
Well, hold on a second.
sorry.
Actually, give me just a second. You could talk about it to the extent that it was Mr. Holmes who told you this, but otherwise you cannot. Does that make sense?
So
if you heard it from someone else, then that's hearsay and it's not allowed.
So if I don't know, then I can't say.
That's right.
Unless you heard it from Mr. Holmes.
So I don't know if it was from Mr. Holmes or not about his rotations.
That's fair. Thank you. Ma'am, can you get 12-4? And that blow up, yeah, that top part there. Do you remember what's going on here? And I'll reference you one to the link. Does that link ring any bells for you based on the text going back and forth?
I don't remember what that link is.
How about this? At 11:46 a.m., the defendant says to you, dancing paper clips are God. What does that mean?
So that's a reference to the Microsoft Paperclip that pops up and gives you help tips from the old Word and Excel.
Okay, thank you. 12:5, ma'am. This is now after Christmas break. It looks like it's January, about mid-January of 2012. Do you know what's going on here? Can you give us some sort of framework?
So we were discussing whether or not he was going to take the neuroscience class that I and Miss Datta were going to take.
Did he end up doing that?
Yes.
Okay, and this is all just prelude to that.
Yes.
Ma'am, 12:6. This one appears to be from January 26th. It starts off, it appears, with you saying, "So, is there a reason why you tried to kill me last night?" That sounds serious, was it?
No.
What was it about? Tell us.
So it was just an outlandish way to start a random conversation.
And talk us through, you don't have to read every single line, but talk us through how this particular conversation progresses.
So basically, it starts out by me asking him why he's trying to kill me, then telling him that he starts out by saying that he wasn't, and it kind of goes back and forth about me still like fake believing that he was.
There are references in here to, ma'am, on 12:7, about midway through, at right after 12:08 p.m. Yep, there it is. Right. Where he asks you or make you more paranoid, you respond with something about paranoia. Tell us what's going on there.
So this is still joking about kind of my state of mind in the conversation about how if it was true, then how can it be paranoid?
And then later on, you use terms like psychotic and psychosis. And then, ma'am, if you take us to, again, still going through this sort of jovial banter back and forth.
Yes.